Hello and welcome to Good Morning Glory. I'm Jim Dodds. Keep away from me. I'm in quarantine. The top stories today. Hugo Boss is made into a joke. Boris Johnson expects. Politics takes a tea break. Wet, wet, wet. No, not the 80s pop group, but the ground all around us. I feel in my toes. Sport and finally the weather. Our first story of the day. The comedian formerly known as Joe Lycett has legally changed his name to Hugo Boss. This came after a small new brewery in Swansea, Boss Brewery, was provided a cease and desist letter by Hugo Boss, the company, not Joe Lycett. Joe Lycett, now Hugo Boss, decided to have his name changed, saying they obviously don't like their name being used. Hugo Boss haven't been in the news this much since they won a German government contract in the 1930s. That's the company, not the comedian. Our very own Doug Swan, due to his recent medical problems, tried to change his name to Preparation H, but backed out after H from Steps threatened to sue, saying he's sick of being called a pain in the arse. The PM has been in the news recently, and for once, not for offending the faint-hearted. Yes, fiancée Carrie Simmons and Boris Johnson are to be expecting their first child, and probably not his last, but possibly hers. Ladies' man Boris Johnson is said to have named more children than the United Kingdom has named storms. Providing their child doesn't knock over any of my bins, I say best of luck to them. Staying with politics now, Yorkshire tea has been brewing up a storm lately as Chancellor Rishi Sunak posted a picture of him taking a break from increasing taxes with a bag of Yorkshire tea, prompting very left-wing Sue to, and I quote, shout at tea. Sue took to Twitter to ramble on about austerity and government ministers being paid to advertise, to which Yorkshire Tea told her to shut up in the most British way possible. On to the other side of the benches now. Labour leadership contender Rebecca Long-Bailey, or Rebecca Wrong-Daly to some, said she would rate Corbyn as 10 out of 10, despite their worst electoral defeat since 1935. Now, to cap off politics, some more serious news. We've heard of a spat of violence has erupted in the Houses of Parliament. Doug Swan was on the scene. Doug?
Over these corridors lingers a curtain of fear. A menace plagues the members of Parliament as civil servants quake with fear. The dread bringer Priti Patel has brought this once peaceful playground of discourse to its knees, attacking defenceless middle-aged men.
All us junior civil servants have heard about a time when Gordon Brown threw a phone in 2008. But this one was as strong as an ox. I've seen her throw a chair. And someone was in it.
She took my quinoa and kicked me in the shin.
She called me fart.
She gave me a wet willy.
Remember when she threw that person in her chair?
That was me.
Oh yeah.
It's unacceptable. I feel moderately distressed in the workplace.
I tried getting a response from Miss Patel, but attempts were unsuccessful. Though, as she kicked me onto the street and spat in my hair, she did call me a that no one will love, and I will
Isn't that her behind you, Doug? Sorry, my mistake, Doug. Just keep low and get back when you can.
Will do, Jim.
If you've been affected by the reign of Priti Patel, please call the National Bullying Hotline on 0845 22 55 787 or call into the studio as we're running out of material for next week. Flooding now. The only thing selling better than hand gel recently is goggles, after storm has flooded the United Kingdom. Doug Swan has interviewed a climate scientist about the floodings.
So, what are the causes of flooding?
Rain.
Thanks, Doug. You can find a shortened version or highlights on our website. Ooh, that stings. Was it a bee? Was it a wasp? No, it was a hornet. 11 of them to be precise. Yes, Liverpool's invincible season came to an abrupt end at Vicarage Road as they were taught a lesson in football by Watford. The Hornets strolled to a 3-0 win as Liverpool played like a team still on a winter break. Arsene Wenger, the last manager to have an unbeaten season, had this to say. Liverpool fans are praying the World Health Organization sorts this coronavirus out, as that seems to be the only thing between them and the title. As the Premier League have said, if the season ends early due to the outbreak, they won't be guaranteed the title. There hasn't been a single hand washed in Manchester since. Which brings us on to COVID-19, also known as coronavirus. An outbreak that started in Wuhan, China, has spread to all continents except for Antarctica. Here's our advice to stop yourself getting the virus.
Today, start working on not touching your face, because one main way viruses spread is when you touch your own mouth, nose, or eyes.
Close to home, Italy has become Europe's leading exporter of the virus. Doug Swan has been to his local Italian to find out more.
Excuse me, can I get your thoughts on Italy being the hub of the coronavirus?
Che caso? Da Ferrari, de Frenze, da Fiat Punto, mamma mia!
Make sure you wash your hands, Doug. Breaking news now. Italian health ministers have ordered all sporting events to be played behind closed doors until at least the 3rd of April, coinciding with Manchester football fans booking last-minute trips to Italy. Doug now with the forecast.
Thanks, Jim. Let's take a look at the corona map. So far, we don't have a lot of confirmed cases or a lot of deaths, comparative to the rest of the world anyway. So really, the Health Organization's guidelines to stay calm, avoid public spaces, and make sure you're clean is the best course of action. We must make sure we don't touch our faces or lick indecent places. We must wash our hands to the tune of Happy Birthday, or I like to use my own little ditties. COVID-19, oh, I swear I am clean at this moment. You mean everything? A coronavirus causing us mild distress. I'm not dirty. Oh, COVID-19. Thanks, Jim. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us on Good Morning Glory. I've been Jim.